Welcome to Meaningfulness, Engineering Purpose in a Complex World podcast series. I'm Djeff B., Principal Architect at Meaningfulness Media Group, where we build rigorous frameworks to uncover objective meaning through authentic connection, ethical systems thinking, and responsible stewardship in an age of AI and informational chaos. If you're seeking evidence-based insights on philosophy, psychology, and human flourishing, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something that honestly touches every single part of our lives, from the coffee we buy in the morning to the big policies our governments create. We're talking about social responsibility and the incredible ripple effect our choices can have. But it really all boils down to one simple question.
I mean, it's a question that can feel pretty overwhelming, right? In a world of billions of people, can my one little choice to recycle or to volunteer or to speak up actually move the needle? That is the fundamental question we're digging into today, and I think the answer is going to surprise you.
So what even is social responsibility? Well, at its core, you can think of it like a moral compass. It's this idea that each of us and the companies and groups we're a part of, we have an obligation to act in ways that benefit society as a whole. And this isn't some lofty, abstract idea. It's a super practical guide for our day-to-day lives.
All right, so to really get our heads around this, let's start small. Let's start right at the center of that ripple, with you. Because this whole concept kicks off with individual choices, creating that first, small, but absolutely crucial wave. Just think about your day-to-day for a second. The choice to use a reusable coffee cup, or buy from a local shop, or maybe pick a fair trade product. It might seem tiny, right? But here's the thing. When millions of us make those same small choices, it creates this huge economic wave. We call it ethical consumerism. And it's sending a loud and clear message to big corporations. You either adapt to more responsible ways of doing things, or you risk getting left behind. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Being socially responsible isn't just about helping other people. It's actually really good for us, too. Research shows that doing good for others, altruism, can literally trigger something called the helper's high. It's a genuine rush of good-feeling endorphins that boosts our own happiness and well-being. It's a literal win-win situation. And right here, you can see that ripple effect playing out perfectly. It all starts with one choice. Say you decide to volunteer your time. That single action gives you that awesome psychological boost, but it goes way beyond that. Your participation helps build a bigger culture of empathy and support, making the whole community stronger. One small action really can create waves of positive change.
So what happens when all those little individual ripples start to meet up and join forces? Well, they form a community wave. Because when we all come together, our small actions combine to create this powerful force for collective good.
And honestly, you see this stuff everywhere if you look for it. Public libraries are such a fantastic example. They're not just buildings with books, right? They're community hubs that give everyone free access to knowledge and opportunity. They literally level the playing field. Things like neighborhood watches or local volunteer groups. They don't just solve problems, they weave the very fabric of a community tighter.
And this is just so important to remember. Being an engaged citizen is about so much more than just casting a vote every few years. It's about showing up, it's about going to town halls, volunteering for local causes, just being present. That active involvement is what turns a random collection of houses into a truly vibrant, responsive, and resilient community. Okay, let's pull the camera way, way back now. We've gone from the individual ripple to the community wave, and now we arrive at the global tide. Because in the world we live in today, everything is so interconnected. Our responsibilities, they don't just stop at our city limits or our national borders. You know, the phrase social responsibility might sound kind of modern, but the actual idea, it's as old as civilization itself. I mean, you can go back thousands of years to Hammurabi's Code, which had rules to protect workers and the vulnerable. Fast forward to the civil rights movements of the 20th century. Humanity has always been wrestling with this idea of our duty to each other. Today, that same duty is just playing out on a much, much bigger stage.
And wow, that global stage is facing some massive challenges. You can just look at this chart and see how issues like climate change, global poverty, and public health crises are off the charts in terms of urgency. These are borderless problems. They don't care about maps, and they demand a coordinated global sense of responsibility.
The good news is we actually have frameworks in place to try and tackle this stuff. You've got international treaties like the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. That's one piece of the puzzle. Another huge one is corporate social responsibility. You'll hear it called CSR, which is all about pushing businesses to be accountable. And we measure this using something called ESG metrics. That stands for environmental, social, and governance. And it's basically a report card for how ethically a company's operating. The whole goal is to build responsibility right into the systems that run our world.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? But let's be real. It's not that simple. Putting these big ideals into practice is messy, it's complicated, it's full of challenges. So let's just hit pause for a quick reality check.
So a huge point of criticism, especially today, is the whole idea of slacktivism. You know what I'm talking about. It's so easy to just like a post or sign an online petition, and hey, that can raise awareness, which is great, but it often doesn't lead to the real-world substantive action that's needed to create true change. It can give us the feeling that we're helping without actually having a real impact.
And it doesn't stop with slacktivism. There are some other really serious hurdles to think about. There's greenwashing. That's when a company spends more money on marketing itself as being eco-friendly than on actually being eco-friendly. Then you have these deep, thorny ethical dilemmas with no easy answers. And there's always the risk that our well-intentioned actions could have unintended consequences, sometimes even making problems worse.
I mean, take a question like this. What do you prioritize, protecting the environment or promoting economic growth? There's no simple black and white answer here. These are the kinds of incredibly tough trade-offs that policymakers and businesses and even us as consumers have to wrestle with every single day. So with all that complexity, where does that leave us? Well, a quote from the research we looked at really sums it up perfectly. In this whole quest, we all play a dual role. We are the agents of change, the ones with the power to act, and we are also the beneficiaries of the better world we're trying to create. And I think that's the key takeaway here. Social responsibility isn't some checkbox you tick off or a final destination you arrive at. It's a journey. It's a continuous process that requires constant action, open and honest conversations about the challenges, and a whole lot of reflection on our own impact. So, we circle all the way back to that first question we asked. Do your small actions really matter? And the answer is a resounding, absolute yes. They are the start of every single ripple, every wave, and every tide of change. The call to action couldn't be clearer. The only question left is, how will you respond?
That's all for this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If these ideas resonate, continue your journey toward objective meaning and authentic connection at meaningfulness.com.au, where you'll find materials and resources to engineer purpose in your life. Until next time, let's build something meaningful.